everybody!
Today I'm going to be walking you guys through how I modeled one of my OCs, Gurpom, in Nomad Sculpt. Starting with a simple sphere, I did not delete it this time, just using the drag tool to get a heavier shape at the bottom. Then turning it to the side to get a more even shape. Next, for the ears, we'll start off with another sphere and thinning it and moving it over to the left side and manipulating the shape for quite some time. To give it a little more dimension, I first tried to use the clay tool with the sub turned on. I don't even know if that's the way you word it. And I wasn't really satisfied with that, so instead I used inflate with sub toggled on. Then I continued to mold the overall shape of the ear, and after cloning the ear, I mirrored it to the other side. Next, for the eyes, we're going to use a cylinder, rotating that 90 degrees and resizing it so that it sits a little thinner right up against Gurpom's head. From there, I duplicate that cylinder, resize it a little bit smaller so that I can give the eye a little bit more texture, since everyone in Gurpom City has button eyes, or at least they started off with button eyes. Then I repositioned the eye to the origin of the workspace so that I could take advantage of the mirroring and use 4 cylinders to create the holes of the button. And now that I have holes, I can create the thread. For that, I use the torus, changing the width and further reshaping it with the gizmo tool. And after that, cloning and mirroring to fill the other set of holes. Then I'll move the eye back in its original position. To get rid of the overlapping meshes, I use deflate again, clone and mirror for the other eye. Then I go back to the drag tool to shape the snout. I bring in another sphere for the nose, giving it a cute little triangle shape before working on the strands of his hair. I went with 3 distinct strands here, 2 tufts and a curl, but for the curl I ended up using the mask tool to draw the shape onto the head so that it can be extracted. After I was satisfied with the shape, I joined all of those together and smoothed the seams. For the torso, I originally tried to use another sphere, but I ended up using the lathe tool. The original sphere was just too boxy, trying to manipulate it with drag. The lathe tool ended up being a lot simpler. Then I moved on to the arms. The arms were pretty simple in shape, again just using another sphere, cloning and mirroring it to the other side, and same with the feet, but this time I just cloned it straight from the torso. For the tail, I used the tube tool so that I could just draw a quick path, turn on that double radius icon, and resize the top so it has a gradual decrease in radius from the base to the tip of the tail. Now on to accessories. We use another torus for the base of his necktie. For the center of the bow, we use smooth all around it to just give it a kind of soft shape. For the wings of the bow, we use another sphere, and again using the drag tool to give it the desired shape. After we're satisfied with that, we're going to use deflate and the crease tool to give it more texture. After we're done, we'll clone and mirror. Now, unfortunately, Gurpom and friends haven't had the best luck in their city, so we have to make their injuries. So we'll start with the ear. I ended up using 3 spheres to create the overall shape that's going to be cut out of the ear. Join those together and hide them for another subtraction boolean. After that, we go back to the mask tool to create the resulting fluid. I wanted it to drip a little, so I did go in with the drag tool just to give it some weight. For his next wound, we'll look at the arm on the other side, and here we can just use an ellipse to trim off that section, and to make his adorable bone underneath, we'll use a cylinder, and then we'll pair that with 2 spheres to create the head of that bone. Once we're satisfied with that shape, we can join all of those together and smooth the seams. And then we'll use the same technique that we did for the ear on the wrist as well, using mask, to give more depth around the wound. Now we paint. And I actually ended up going back in to resize the head and adjust the eyes and just make a whole bunch of little changes. After that, I gave him some blush and drew in his eyebrows. And for a final touch, I go in with the mask tool on the underside of the thread to give it a yellow accent. And he's all done.